So, hello, motherfuckers. This is Idris Sanusi from INSA Arts and Crafts, coming to you from many places. Let's keep it like that for now. And right now, we are today in this lesson. We're going to talk about today's cards. Today's cards are Baphomet, or as known in the traditional tarot as the Devil, and the Eight of Wands. Now, let's talk first about the tarot. The tarot, contrary to common understanding, people think of the tarot as something that's divine, that has been given to us from the skies, and no, it's not. It was a game, a card game that was played in the Renaissance period by the Italian families, and actually the suit cards were cards that represented the families, and yada yada yada. And then they discovered, oh, so there's something more to those cards than just playing games. There's actually there's like it is a game, and we can actually work with it to make our lives better and all that kind of stuff. And actually, at some point, they took away two of the supposed evil cards from the deck, which was the Devil and the Tower, because they could not understand what the Tower was about and what the Devil was about, and they decided if they could not understand it, they might as well demonize it. And that's the trick, really. If you don't understand something in yourself, you end up demonizing it because you don't know how to take responsibility for it, or you don't know how to fulfill it, so you call that need a demon, and you end up calling on angels of superiority, calling names of superiority just to pretend that you have superiority over that desire. And that's the biggest mistake, because what you're doing there is that you are actually, instead of you reasoning with that desire, and actually, the bigger mistake is to try to reason with the desire in the first place, because desire does not speak the language of reason. Desire speaks the language of action. And how could you, sometimes you would find yourself wanting to do a lot of stuff that seem unreasonable, irrational. Things that are going to actually seemingly destroy your life. But the truth is, you can never destroy your life because you have no control over it in the first place. So at the end of the day, the promise of the possibility of you destroying your life is a lie in itself, to make you feel that you have control over the uncontrollable. And this makes you kind of irrational in itself. And irrationality in this case is putting things in the wrong locations. Like, for example, let's say you want to have sex with someone, okay? And instead of you going actually and talking with that person, and like initiating contact with that person so you can end up having sex with them, you are thinking of ways to initiate contact. And what is that doing? That is actually that is giving you the promise that you have control over the circumstance, that you won't get rejected. And while you're doing those thoughts, the person that you want to fuck is gone. She had something to do with her life. She had a boyfriend to go back to. She had a husband to go back to. And all of you, what we were doing at that moment, you were imagining things. And essentially creating for yourself a bigger void for that desire, so you can actually even make it deeper in your unconscious. And what does that do? It manifests itself later on as other circumstances of repetition, where you can get the same person but through another, like get the same desire with another person, but not that person necessarily. Now, in that moment of thought, or in that moment of imagination, for you to stop that imagination, you presuming superiority, where you start to believe that you're no longer the thinker, and you start to think that you are the observer of your thoughts. And in this case, what you're doing is that you are negating your desire. And then in that process, you're projecting that desire onto someone else. And some people, or most people in this case, when they project that desire onto someone else, they start hating that person. While the truth about that hatred is a deepened self-loathing for the inability to fulfill that desire. Be it sex, be it a sense of fulfillment through work, a sense of fulfillment through through love in all of its forms. It's endless. We can have endless examples about this. Now, and in a way, now I have been talking about the devil within this conversation and the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is about swiftness. It's about developing the skill of letting go and just, they call it in I when I studied in the pickup community. I didn't have a guru in the pickup community. I researched the internet because where I live there's no pickup community. So I ended up at some point actually looking for sources on the internet to learn how to become a pickup artist. And I'll criticize this in a second. Um, and actually not the movement itself, not the pickup movement itself, because I am not part of the pickup movement. I wish I was in a certain time, not anymore, because my life and my vision has changed from that. But that does not mean I'm demonizing them. They have their own way of manifesting their desires that not doesn't fit with my own way of wanting to manifest my desires. And that is the crucial thing about demonizing. Demonizing is a form of obsessive thought, train of thought, and it strains you, where you are basically unable to see that all the paths lead to Rome. There is this story about some Sufi clans or Sufi tribes or Sufi paths or whatever you're going to call them in English. I don't know the specific translation of it in English, where they end up during their initiatory phases. They teach people that all other they don't teach it to them. They kind of like, because it's an oratory, it's a word of mouth kind of tradition. Like Sufism, you can read about it in a lot of books, but it compares to nothing when a teacher gives it to you orally, like tells you the secret orally. And I don't mean the secret as in the secret. Oh no, I mean like the secrets, the tools of the trade, how to use the tools, pretty much. There's a difference when someone tells you how to use the tools, and when you read about them, and when you actually discover the tools in yourself. So there are three levels of discovery of tools. But this is a talk for another part of the conversation, or the message. Now, if we were going to talk about the demonization of the other, is the inability to see that all the paths essentially lead to the same goal. But at the end of the day, what is the goal? And we could consider demonization in itself a method of the mind to actually to narrow thought to a certain to a certain pathway, where you end up calling all paths wrong, and this is the only path that you want to go through. This is beneficial, but at the same time not so beneficial as well. The benefit of this is that you are focusing your will that you want to accomplish this no matter what it takes. You are destroying any temptation to get devoid from your path, and you are getting what you want. That's the benefit of it. The not so beneficial part of it is when you come in contact with other people who have different points of view, and how you deal with them, and how you end up interiorizing or interjecting doubt. The point is, and this comes from the misunderstanding of doubt, because you can't have belief without doubt, now can you? An element on its own does not exist without its polar opposite. They have to coexist. And it's your perception that you have to work with and work on, to make yourself realize that oppositions are not against each other. They're actually working with each other. For example, the feminine and the masculine. Now, the feminine and the masculine could be looked at as something, they're both opposing each other, but they aren't. They are opposite, but they unite to create new life. Now, this way of thinking goes even to the shall I call it the toxic masculine or the toxic feminine, because they're both exist. And there's nothing wrong with being a toxic feminine, and there's nothing wrong with being toxic masculine. It is a phase. And once you say there's something wrong with it and you try to resist it, that's when it gets more toxic. So on paper it is wrong, but in application you shouldn't apply demonization to it. And it takes conversation skills, or even on an internal level, for you to be, and this is the misunderstanding of power. Power is not about destroying your opposition. Power is not about influencing your opposition. Power is about influencing yourself to be okay with yourself. And if you achieve that form of power, you would find it easier to live with people who have different points of views than you. Because at the end of the day, you can coexist with their different points of views without them actually causing you to be afraid of how you're going to handle your life, while you have a lot of people who are not really helping you out with your life with their views. And you can reach to that realization that actually gives your point of view enough friction to move forward. Think of the car wheels. Now, if you have a smooth surface, if you are driving a car and the asphalt under it is smooth, if it's smooth, the car won't move easily and it will be very slippery. For example, ice. If you're driving on ice and that's a very smooth layer, the car won't be able to be stable. It will actually move right and left and right and left, and it won't get to the point at ease. But if there's enough friction between the tires and the ground it's moving on, the car will be moving. Actually, it won't drift right and left. It will be walking in the straight line, reaching to its goal without too much problem. So it's your job to make a balance. Because at the end of the day, your opinion is not your opinion. It's an opinion that you adopted as your own. And once you understand that, you realize that, oh, okay, so it's not my opinion, it's an opinion that I adopted as my own, and I'm going to protect this opinion because I see that this opinion is beneficial for me. It's beneficial for what I want to stand for. Okay, cool. But don't expect that your opinion won't be met by a form of friction. Even when you are in desire, in your heightened levels of desire, and you don't see anything but your object of desire, there is still a part of your brain that's telling you, is this the right thing to do? Now, this is the difference. You can let the car wheels go backwards, or you can let them go forwards. And if you let them go forwards, the opposing opinion actually serves you to go forward. If you go backward, the opposing opinion serves you as well to go backward. Thing is, it's how you look at things. You can look at things as things that serve you towards reaching your path and your destination, or you look at things as ways to actually hinder your path. It's your choice of vision. So, what I was going to say about the pickup community is they have this rule. It's called the 3-second rule. And if anybody actually went through the pickup, it's the first thing that they write in their agenda, the 3-second rule. I see, I like, I take. You know, don't think too much. You see something that you want, you go get it. And when you go get it, you'll find ways to get it. But if you wait too long and try to plan it out, things get more complicated. So it's to end this conversation. It's about simply swiftness of movement and learning how to make opposition your ally. This is INSA Arts and Crafts, speaking to you from a lot of places at the same time. May no order hinder you, and may chaos be your authority. We love you guys.